Hello, hi, and welcome. My name's Mary. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. And today, we are going to be starting a new series. Since it is Pride Month, and I kind of wanted to go over and see if I could do something for Pride Month, I wanted to start off a series where we're going over and going through something I haven't seen a lot done on YouTube r/slash asktransgender to see whether or not we can answer some burning questions from people that are going to be a bit more new to the transgender community. Let's get started. I'm still questioning myself at the moment, and I just don't really like being associated with the men as a group. I'd much rather be thrown in with the women as a whole. Does this person just be better, just want to be better than how their group is viewed as a whole? Is just not wanting to be associated and thinking about being women the fix all I need to say I'm trans? I don't know, I hope this small post makes sense. So the answer to this kind of thing is relatively complicated. It's not exactly a one-size-fits-all kind of solution. However, I should say this. The term is typically, it certainly means something. Whether it is the fact if you're transgender or not, it's not 100% sure. That's something for you to explore and for you to discover. And for you to go over and essentially figure out. See if that has something to do with that, or if you're just literally just seeing guys and just being like, oh my god, some of these people are so stupid. It can depend. It can depend. However, that when it comes to a thing of like, man, I so don't fit with the other guys. I sit so much better with the women. That generally means that something's going on. Whether it be being trans or not, it generally means that something is happening there. That being said, I would definitely recommend trying to go over and exploring your gender, as legitimately exploring your gender, regardless of if you're cis or straight, is just a good thing. Learning more about yourself and learning more about the society around you is always a very good thing to go after and try to learn about, because if you learn more about yourself and are able to treat yourself properly, it'll just lead to a much happier life. Yeah, that's my thoughts on this kind of question. Uh, but yeah, the way they worded the sentence at the top definitely gives me you may be trans. Our next question is coming from Benji Kisses Guys. It states, "Can I be fired for being trans?" Hi, making a long short story short, I, 18, female to male, got approved for HRT by my doctor in college. I'm really excited. I struggle with insane voice and chest dysphoria, and I'm excited to be able to move forward and become more happy with myself. Well, congratulations, by the way. Shoo, good job. My issue is, I work in a pretty conservative job market, funeral directing, and I'm incredibly worried that my transition could cause me to lose my intern position at my job. I'm obviously planning to wait out the 3-month probation period, so I can't be fired without reason. I'm just pretty worried. I'm very professional, on time, and eager to do my work, but I understand that working with old people who may be discriminatory towards me could be deteriorating for employers. Any tips? Any insights are greatly appreciated. This could be a dumbass post, so I'm really sorry if it is. Ed, some people were asking me where I'm from. I'm from Ontario, Canada. Okay, well, good. That's good because that means it's not the U.S. That's good because that means it's not the U.S. Also, why is Obscura here? Shoot. When it comes down to this, it's a relatively tricky question. A lot of There's a lot of conservative people that I seem to don't really get it, but actually do get it, but don't want to say they get it. But the problem is that any conservative area is going to find a way. Let me put it like this. Theoretically, it is illegal. I think in New York, I'm not sure if it's illegal in your where you are in Ontario, California, Canada. I'm not exactly a Canada lawyer or anything, but it is typically legal for you to be able to fire someone just based off of their gender or sexuality. That is illegal to do. The problem comes in in that jobs are, in companies in general, are very corrupt. And if it's something in a market like this, where it's apparently a conservative job market, then yeah, they're going to find a way. I do see the effort you're trying to make in trying to go through the probationary period so that they can't just fire you for no reason, which is a smart move to do before anything else. That being said, they'll find something. And it doesn't even have to be something legit. It could be something as simple as, we just don't think you're no longer a good fit for our workplace. Someone complained about you, and that's a big no-no over here. There's many other ways they can go about just really trying to fuck you over. If anything, I would recommend trying to have a backup plan. I know saying that in modern day is wild, but I recommend seeing if there's a backup plan or having a job you're looking at just in case. Because, yes, you can just be fired for being trans, even though they won't say it's for being trans, but we've had plenty of people in we've had plenty of fights over the years about a bunch of different people just getting fired for no reason, and you kind of want to be on the safe side, especially if you're in a conservative area. Next up, we've got an interesting question from Silly Bill 7459 asking, there's this guy at my summer school that thinks his potential girlfriend transitioned into a man. How do I tell him that this isn't how gender identity works? I'm a cis girl, but I want him to stop talking about it, to be honest. He won't stop talking about how trans people are stealing girls, and that he would have had a girlfriend if trans men didn't exist. He smells like shit too. He's not even talking about a person. He thinks the reason he can't get a girl is because his potential girlfriend transitioned. Yo, from at the start of this, I legitimately thought this guy just kind of had a potentially had a partner that transitioned and just didn't want anything to do with his ass. This guy is 100% pilled, for lack of a better term. How do you even start with that? There's not a lot of saving everybody. You cannot save everyone. Theoretically, you can tell them that that's just not how it works. Pretty much the only way you would do this is to be direct. Hey man, that's not how being transgender works. Being trans doesn't mean that you're taking away potential partners, and that means that, especially because like trans women exist, right? So if trans men exist and trans women exist, then there's no threat of trans men taking away all the women in the room because trans women exist, right? As well as, it's just not how gender works. People have a gender essentially when they're born. They figure it out. Things shift and change as they grow up. Stuff like that. It's fairly complicated, but it certainly isn't just a thing of trans people stealing the girls. That being said, something tells me he wouldn't listen to a rational explanation in the first place, which is why he's where he is today. Van's going over and has a ton of different failings from what you said. He's very misogynistic and transphobic and smells horrible, which are three traits that people don't typically like in a partner. So honestly, if anything, if you want, the main option would be to improve himself. You would go over and say it straight to his face, and if he wants to take that advice and actually act on it, he can go over and do so. If not, then, well, you've done everything you can, to be honest. Hopefully a chud can be saved, but unfortunately, I don't think that's the case, especially in the current climate. And for our last question of the day, we've got a question from Existing Good 7486, titled, Any Good Free Voice Training Options? I'm gonna be honest, I'm dead broke. I can't afford anything. This is mostly as I'm not out to my parents, but I don't really want to get into that here. I really want to do voice training before I start medically transitioning. It takes a lot of time. Y'all have any good beginner guides? It's nice seeing someone going over taking the initiative to try and voice train. A lot of people don't really want to do that for good reason. That thing takes a while and is tedious. However, there are a few options that is probably suggestible. In particular, there is YouTube. There are a lot of things online for YouTube, and they're going over, and you're able to find different information on stuff. Now, do note that DIY trans, what is it called, voice training, is very much something of a double-edged sword. Yes, obviously you can learn. Yes, obviously you could improve your voice from it. And however, the problem comes in that you might see some outdated information. Things like swallow and hold, as well as the big dog, little dog tricks for being able to get your voice to a higher pitch fast, don't always work for transgender people in the long term, because a lot of them sometimes deal damage to your voice so heavily that it might cause a lot of different things like vocal fry and different stuff like that, and you can have to go to speech therapists in order to fix that. That being said, let's see here. That being said, one of my recommendations as well would be Seattle Voice Labs. They're a place that does really professional training and also is able to do beginner voice training lessons for free. There are multiple different curriculums, from just masculine and androgynous voices to and feminine voices, as well as singing in both masculine and feminine, all for free, all in the group sessions. And usually first timers get priority. So if you're a first timer and you tell them that, you can go over and get put onto the stage first and get some more training. They do one-on-ones. Those are paid usually, but you could. There are some that can be done for free, usually to teach their upcoming vocal coaches. So I would recommend doing that.
That's actually where I've been doing my vocal training, and it's been going very well, I think.
That being said, I do think this is going to be the end of the questions for today. Thank you so much for coming over and listening, and I'm excited to do this more. Is there any particular questions that you guys have here? If you want to, you can go over and put them in the chat, and I'll go over and then answer them. Or if you have any particular ones that you've seen in r/asktransgender or any other r/Reddit areas, we can go over and respond to some of those questions there. Thank you so much for watching, and until then, I'll see you guys soon.